All right, fantastic. So let's dive into 5 ways to dominate the Cyber 5. This first one is going to be relatively quick. It's super important, but it will be relatively quick. So, one of the things we want to do when holiday hits is we got to cut through the clutter, right? Everybody's going to increase their advertising budgets. There's going to be ads all over the place. We have the disadvantage this year of this also being an election year. Now, I think some of the platforms are going to limit political ads. I certainly hope so. That's like the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. But we got to cut through the clutter. Right? We got to make sure our message lands to the right prospect. And we want to keep ad costs low, efficient, right? We got to still hit our ROAS targets, our CPA targets. And so one of the keys, one of the really important things we do now is start building our lists, our remarketing lists and other lists now, because we can leverage them fully once holiday shopping kicks into full gear, right? So what kind of lists are we talking about? These are, I think, 4 must-build lists, and we can get more detailed with these lists, but just want to highlight them. One is a viewed video audience. So, we do a lot with YouTube. A lot of the people listening live here, are heavy YouTube advertisers as well. So build those viewed video audiences, because we can take those audiences, layer them into search and shopping to increase our performance on search and shopping. We can also build a YouTube funnel where if someone interacts with maybe one of our cold targeting videos and they don't purchase, but they engage with that video, we'll run more ads to them to kind of woo them and get them to take the next steps. Also remarketing, and we can slice and dice remarketing lists in a lot of different ways. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also SMS and messenger lists, that's a list you should be building now. So while you're driving traffic to offer pages and PDPs, also try to get someone to enter their mobile number or get on your messenger list. And then of course, email lists as well. So if we make a secondary goal right now of building these lists are going to come in really handy once Q4 hits. And what's interesting, something that we're noticing a lot of right now, and we're benefiting from this and so are our clients, is that watch time on YouTube has exploded since the beginning of lockdown. So this is just actually looking at watch time of YouTube on TVs, which I know in my house, my kids are watching YouTube all the time on TVs, but it's up 80% year over year. Watch times of YouTube on TV screens. So what's important about this is if you think about what inventory means, and actually I have a bit of a background in TV ads. With traditional TV, inventory is just based on time, right? It's based on the number of 30-second commercial breaks we can fit in, or the number of commercial breaks in a given program or in a given, live sports event or whatever. On YouTube, inventory is based on people, based on eyeballs, right? So the more people, the more inventory is available. And so we've been able to capitalize on this where, costs are relatively low and relatively stable right now. So we can capitalize on that. If we invest in YouTube and other top of funnel efforts now, with obviously the goal of driving sales now, right? That's how we do it. But also with the secondary goal of building our lists, because those lists we're going to be able to target specifically and directly once we get into Q4. So that's super important too. Guys, any other thoughts you want to chime in with on this topic?
Just that in my experience, we've seen over the last 6 months, especially with a lot of OMG clients that we work with, that our CPAs have dropped considerably and performance on video has never been better. So as Brett mentioned, this is the best time to capitalize on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My role here at the company is dealing with all the inbound inquiries of people reaching out, seeing if they could run YouTube ads or Amazon or whatever they're coming to us for. And, Brett, you and I were talking about this earlier, 6-7 months ago, which is not that long ago, we were having much different conversations with e-commerce stores about their readiness to advertise on YouTube based on their CPA requirements. And we have now seen that, I would say, drop by as much as half of what those standards kind of used to be from what we would look at.
Yep, and we're seeing new launches on YouTube. So we did the big event in LA in February. New launches since then have been fantastic, and a lot of this is because inventory is at an all-time high. costs are relatively low and pretty stable. And so it's a great time. More on YouTube in a minute. We're going to circle back to top of funnel YouTube here in just a minute. But the idea here is build those remarketing audiences, right? Build those audiences now. You will thank us later because you can leverage those audiences once we get into the thick of holiday shopping.